Welcome to the End Time News, where we are going to expose a few of the abominations of the world in 2021 and 22. Let's have a look at today's headlines. We will have a look at CERN and D-Wave's persevering attempts to bring what they call things they are summoning from other dimensions through the Large Hadron Collider and the D-Wave quantum computers, which Jordy Rose from D-Wave says we should be careful that it will not wipe us all out. Next, the 90-10 medbed deception, which the New Age movement has been screaming for many years, which are available now. It is what is called spiritualism, and as the scriptures so clearly say that in these latter days the old serpent, called the devil and Satan, will perform miracles and work with all power, and signs and lying wonders. Are you tired of living? Switzerland has now legalized the suicide pods, and as the creator of these machines, who goes under the nickname Dr. Death, says it only aims to make the suicide process more peaceful and allows a person to die more quickly with minimal pain. Last, we are going to have a look at the artificial wombs, where women no longer have to go through the normal pregnancy, but instead can order a child which has been artificially developed in a robotic womb, a so-called designer baby. We will begin with CERN and D-Wave and the things they are summoning into the world these days through the Large Hadron Collider and the D-Wave quantum computers. What they are doing in CERN facilities in Switzerland, combined with D-Wave and Kindred AI, is summoning demons and disguising them as AI, which is part of their transhumanism agenda, which is to merge man and machine.
Sergio Bartolucci, former director for research and scientific computing of the facility, made headlines when he warned the super collider could open otherworldly doors to, quote, peer into this open door, either by getting something out of it or by sending something into it.
Josh, what are they doing there at CERN with this Large Hadron Collider? What are they doing?
Yeah, well, the official story, and what I believe that most physicists there would accept is quite simply they just want to smash particles together, try to discover new particles and put together the pieces of the building blocks of reality. But the really interesting thing is, and they make no secret about this. This isn't like a conspiracy or anything. This is right on their own website. Part of what they want to do is open a portal, and they even use this language: open a portal to a higher dimension or parallel dimension, parallel universe, and measure extra-dimensional space, but also communicate with any intelligences that might be inhabiting that space.
These extra-dimensional beings could have intelligences vastly superior to our own, and some fear the consequences of inviting them into our world could be devastating.
So what does this have to do with aliens? So Sam Harris, who I quite admire, is a very interesting guy, was reciting this parable at a TED Talk that he was giving, and it goes something like this. So say I'm the President of the United States. So I receive this message from the heavens. So my microwave dish, my SETI dish, finally captures something. And what it says is, in 50 years, or 13 years, we're coming to your planet. You got to be ready. Now just imagine what would happen if that happened. A super intelligent alien race beamed down a message to all of us Earthlings saying, we're coming July 13th, 2030, and boy, you better be ready because the mothership is landing right on the front lawn of the White House or wherever you wanted to land on that day. The amount of resources that would be marshaled to try to figure out what to do would encompass the whole world. AI is just like that. So when this thing that I'm talking about happens, it's going to be exactly the thing that you're thinking about those super intelligent AIs. So the one thing I can tell you is they're not going to be like us. So alien means, different. These things that we're building are not going to be people. They might be really smart, they might be really good at all sorts of different things, but they're not going to be like us. They're going to be aliens. And they're going to be, I'm sorry to say, way smarter than every single person in this room, in ways that we can't even comprehend. So this, of course, triggers a lot of alarm. One of the guys who talks about this is Elon, who says things like this, like, when you do this, beware. Because you think, just like the guy in the stories, that when you do this, you're going to put that little guy in a pentagram, and you're going to have your holy water out, and you're going to wave it at the thing, and by God, it's going to do exactly what you say and not one thing more, but it never works out that way.
In front of the CERN facility stands a giant 12-foot statue of a Hindu god named Shiva, performing a strange dance. Who is this god Shiva, and why does CERN, a scientific research institute, display a giant statue of it? Shiva is the third and most feared god of the Hindu triad. It brings destruction, death, and war. It is also important to note that Shiva is surrounded by a wheel reminiscent of CERN's Giant Hadron Collider. Could it be that ancient Hindus actually witnessed their god coming out of a wheel-shaped stargate similar to the Large Hadron Collider? And as if this wasn't enough, CERN created a strange, very occult video called Symmetry, in which scientists at the CERN facility actually performed Shiva's cosmic dance of destruction, the Natarasha. In this mysterious video, CERN scientists create a ritual circle and at times appear to become possessed. Why would CERN spend time and money on a bizarre video that has no scientific value? CERN claims the statue of Shiva was merely a gift from the nation of India, but why would the most feared god of the Hindu pantheon, the bringer of cosmic destruction, be the appropriate deity to represent the research taking place at CERN? This is where it gets even weirder. The facility itself is located near the French town of Saint-Genès-Pauli, which in the days of ancient Rome housed a great temple to the god Apollo, and derives its name from the Latin word for Apollo, Apolliacum. It was believed that this location was the gateway to the underworld, where Apollo himself was bound. And what are we to make of the fact that the CERN logo cleverly contains 3 sixes? Researchers point to these strange anomalies as evidence that there is more going on at the mysterious facility than the public is being made aware of. But if dark rumors surrounding the facility wasn't enough, a bizarre video was about to send internet speculation into overdrive. In 2016, a creepy video surfaced on the web entitled "Murder at CERN." It quickly gained attention worldwide, as it appeared to depict a nighttime ritual in front of the Shiva statue at CERN. Several robed figures emerged from the darkness and positioned themselves symmetrically around the lit statue. One of them is disrobed to reveal a naked woman who lies down. Then another hooded figure moves over her wielding a knife and thrusts it downward in a mock blood sacrifice. At this point, the cameraman becomes frantic and the footage soon cuts out. But is the video real? The footage was quickly denounced by CERN officials as a prank, saying it was just a case of humor gone too far.
This is what they look like. There are 2 of them. These are from our lab in Burnaby in British Columbia. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths, big metal boxes, about 10 feet on a side, 12 feet tall. And they are powered, they have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero. Just a wisp, a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines.
I don't know if any of you are turn-of-the-century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft, who's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he espoused a view which is called cosmicism. And the essence of cosmicism is cosmic indifference. So what he was saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now, are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really, really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention. This thing is happening in the background while people bicker about politics and what's going to be in the healthcare plan in the US. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out.
The 9010 medbed is nothing but a huge deception that goes under the guise of healing your body. But what it is really about is filling up your body with demonic entities, as the person who goes for their free trial has given their consent for them to possess you. This is 100% New Age spirituality, consciousness, and satanic wickedness, which you should stay completely clear of.
#9010 Medbed. Scan my body. #9010 Medbed. Scan me.
Hello and very welcome to the 9010 Medbed. You can have it. You can test it right now. It's available. The first virtual 9010 Medbed is out, and it is so cool to test this. You can install this virtual 9010 Medbed in your own bed where you are sleeping every night. You can quantum entangle it with our 9010 Cube, which is a quantum processor, and we will integrate the operating system of this 9010 Medbed into your personal bed at home. So your bed becomes a 90-10 medbed for 8 hours. This test is completely for free and it's a full automatic service, so you can upload a photo of your bed. It will be automatically quantum entangled with the cube and it is working for 8 hours. So if you want to lay down in your bed, you can do this and you feel first nothing. Then you say the magic words 90-10 medbed. You can also think it or say it out loud. And in this moment, it installed automatically a full energetic bubble around your body. And you can feel this. You can feel the energy and you think, okay, that's cool. And then you can think or say out loud, scan me or scan, or I want to scan, please check me out, or whatever you think or say, which is giving the medbed the information that you want to check your body. A complete cell scan is starting and everything will be informed into the 90-10 medbed, and the 90-10 medbed in cooperation with your consciousness and subconsciousness is sending quantum energy and frequencies directly into the points in your body where you need to heal yourself. So it's super important to understand that we only quantum entangle our technology with your bed, and the energy and the frequencies are created through yourself, through your subconsciousness and your consciousness into your body, and you can feel, and it is such an amazing experience. And to deactivate the medbed, you just need to stand up. In this moment when you go out of the bed, it's offline. You can go to toilet or drink a little bit of water, then you can go back into your bed and reactivate it in the time frame of 8 hours. And you can say 90-10 medbed, and then poof, you can feel it. It's immediately there. And it's going, the healing session with yourself is going on again.
The suicide pod, also known as the sarcopod, which is invented by a man who goes under the name Dr. Death, aims to help people to end their lives in an easy and painless way. This is truly evil, and as the scriptures also so clearly say in Isaiah chapter 5, and in verse 20, woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil.
It's beautiful in design, it's functional in purpose, and the simplicity of its innovative technology is a wonder to behold.
It's utopian. It's Brave New World stuff, previously unthought of.
When I first heard about the Sarco, I got very excited because it seems such a wacky idea. But then I thought about it and I thought, you know, this is actually what I've been thinking about a lot.
I became involved in this project when Philip entered my office a couple of years ago, and he looked like a very nice man. I had no idea who he was. He is a nice man, but he's also called Dr. Death, and he had this controversial idea.
A long time ago, 22 years ago, when the world's first law came in Darwin, Australia, I was involved as a doctor wanting to help terminally ill people die, and I thought I could give a lethal injection, but I'd rather have a machine so that they could press the button and allow the drugs to flow that would end their lives. So I built a machine, the deliverance machine, and it was used by 4 people to have a peaceful death. But the idea of using a machine to allow a person to have absolute control really has been a long-term interest of mine.
Everything these days has to be artificial, as the elites are playing God over humanity, and their plans of controlling the population of the world is found in these artificial wombs, where people can order their designer baby without going through the natural pregnancy period. They say it is coming in the future, but we know they are many years ahead with technology of what they are telling the public. This is truly evil, and a very clear sign that we are living in the last days.
This is the artificial womb facility, a place where humans could be grown entirely from scratch. The devices you see here are called growth pods. Each growth pod is designed to replicate the same conditions that exist inside the mother's uterus. Growth pods are designed to host human fetuses until they are fully developed. These artificial wombs are designed to help premature babies to continue developing after their birth. But emerging scientific research is making it possible to use them to create designer humans entirely from scratch. Every human fetus requires around 37 weeks inside the mother's uterus to fully develop. And then comes birth. But not every human has this biological luxury. In fact, every year around 15 million fetuses are born too early, and approximately 1 million of them die due to birth complications. The minimum number of weeks in which a developing fetus must stay in the womb is 24 weeks. If the fetus is born before that, the survival rate will go down. Even if the fetus survives, it will likely to experience lung issues and long-term neurological damage. Although baby incubators exist and they increase the chances of survival, they have their own limitation. If the fetus is born before 22 weeks, incubators are not likely to work. The artificial womb is an advanced version of baby incubators, and it promises to make the problem of premature births obsolete. But how does it work? In terms of design, the artificial womb consists of the growth chamber, which hosts the fetus. It replicates the same environment provided by the mother's uterus. It is the incubation chamber that provides the optimal temperature and humidity for the growth of the fetus. There is another container which provides the fetus with a constant stream of blood that is rich of oxygen until the moment of birth. The artificial womb is filled with the amniotic fluid, which is the liquid that surrounds the fetus inside the mother's uterus. This liquid is rich of the essential nutrients that are needed to sustain the unborn fetus inside the womb. The growth chamber also features advanced sensors coupled with artificial intelligence. These sensors monitor the fetus's vital signs during the development process, which include breathing and heartbeat. The artificial womb also features a screen which displays real-time data on the development progress of the fetus. Inside this growth pod, the fetus is kept for 9 months until a full course of development is reached. The concept of growing babies inside an artificial environment is called ectogenesis. Ecto means outside and genesis means formation. And it isn't really new. The history of the artificial womb dates back to the early 1950s. The first design of the artificial womb was patented by Emanuel Greenberg back in 1955. He developed the concept with the hope of helping premature babies to continue developing after their birth. Back then, baby incubators already existed, so no one really moved forward to building the prototype of the artificial womb. In the 1990s, researchers at Tokyo University's medical department tested the artificial womb to see if it actually works. They removed a goat fetus from its mother by C-section. Then they placed it in a rubber womb filled with artificial amniotic fluid, and the little guy was delivered 17 days later. In 2002, scientists built mini artificial wombs using cells extracted from the uterus itself. These lab-made wombs allowed embryos to attach themselves to their walls, just like the natural process. Even though the embryos began to grow and develop, they were terminated 5 days later due to ethical concerns. In 2017, scientists from the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia managed to use a primitive design of the artificial womb, where they placed a premature lamb fetus. After keeping the lamb fetus for 4 weeks inside the artificial womb, it started growing a wool coat, gained weight, and even opened its eyes. The researchers went on to test their design of the artificial womb with more lambs, and their experiments were successful. As of today, the real artificial womb is no more than just a plastic bag filled with amniotic fluid. It doesn't look like much, but it serves its purpose, allowing premature fetuses to continue developing outside the mother's uterus. Even though the primary goal of the artificial womb is to sustain premature babies, it could actually be used to create the perfect human being. By engineering a human being from scratch, we can redesign ourselves to be more resistant to diseases and to achieve more intelligence and better looks. And babies who are born in such a way are called designer babies or designer humans.
That is all we have for you in this February update of End Time News. We will continue to cover more abominations of this fallen world, so stay tuned. And remember, put your full trust in the Most High, walk in His statutes, and keep His commandments, and He shall protect you against all the evil that is going on these days. God bless.